Welcome to Endurance Noise Daily. I'm Andy Noise, and this is your Endurance News for Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. A little later than usual. It's now almost 9 o'clock at night, but I wanted to kind of get this in before the day is over. First off was a 6-day race results from France. Walkers and runners were greeted with a sunny day. The competition heated up in the last phase because I'm sure everyone's trying to get those personal goals. I've done a couple of 6-day races, and the last day is always interesting. Some people are trying to get to a certain landmark, obviously, milestone, and then other people are trying just to keep their position. And generally, everybody's in a holding pattern. I remember one time at the Dome, it was really entertaining because it was such a brutally hard race. The first Dome up in Alaska, the track was really, really hard. It was just basically a little bit of rubber on top of concrete. And so, like, on the last hours of the race, it was basically everyone just going around and around, like kind of the March of the Penguins, just trying to keep their place. The only person who was moving was, of course, Joe Fegis, who ended up breaking the American record for the first time, and he did that, and that was really cool to see. So at this event, it sounds like a really great event. I would love to go to Paris maybe someday. I know they wanted Yolanda to come, and so hopefully she'll go there someday. They also had a 48 and a 24 on the final day. And in both events, third overall place went to a walker, Mary Kane, doing 152 kilometers in 24 hours, and Ronald Tinton did 249 kilometers in 48 hours. The main event was won by Christopher Bettet, winning with 600.877 kilometers. I'm sure he gave everything to get across that magical mark. You know, that's over 370 miles. That's kind of what my buddy Carla Kent did at the Dome. Remember, that was her big goal. Other places, Claudia Bizarro was second with 585.9, and then there was and she was the women's winner. And third place went to Dominique Delage with 511. Needless to say, these walkers placed well in the overall results. They were 7th, 8th, and 12th. For the runners, Belar Kalou did 682, and Maria Pierre was 606, won the ladies event, placing 5th overall. So an interesting kind of post here. They were basically talking about the walkers. They actually, at this race, have a walking division. Now that I remember it, that was one of the things that really attracted Yolanda to it. Congratulations to Harvey Lewis, ultra runner, for taking the overall win at Burning River 100-mile endurance race in Northeast Ohio. He finished in 17:48. That's 10:40 pace. What makes the effort more impressive was his feet was just 11 days ago he broke the FKT of the 146 miles at Badwater. And of course, as they say here, he had to kit down, so it's really the Badwater 157. That record was 22 years old, and he beat the record by 22 minutes. So 11 days later, he's in Ohio running a 100-mile race. Pretty impressive. Definitely, it's interesting how many people do these really difficult doubles and stuff. Speaking of difficult times, obviously lots of virtual races going on. This 100-mile that Harvey won was kind of cool that they actually had a race. I did see that often they were masked up, and I'm not sure what the exact policy was in that race. They did have a video, and I know the Jester's been out and about doing 100-mile, 24-hour races. In fact, this is the first weekend he hasn't done one in a while. Kind of odd not to talk to him. But, you know, one of the things here in California, besides having COVID and things shut down, we've had all these fires. There's over 30 fires going on or more. And, like, Bakersfield, the sun is just this bright orange, red thing. And it looks like you're at the beach. It looks like it's foggy, but it's just smoke. And we've had days of it, and I think there's going to be plenty more days of it. Outside Magazine had a really interesting article that I wanted to kind of go over here in Endurance News, but they're just talking about it used to be a saying that don't exercise if your eyes feel itchy and stay inside, which doesn't offer much protection. Particulates seep in, and without filtration, the air can be almost as unhealthy as is what's outdoors. So how did we get this place? It says, well, over 100 years of wildlife fire suppression and even hotter planet made this what's going on in the West is now acting as an adaptation catalyst. The adaptation is essential. Thanks to climate change, we are seeing record high temperatures and record low moisture in vegetation. Add the increasingly popular dream of owning a home in the woods, the fastest growing land use in the country, and the so-called wildlife-urban interface. Infrastructure risks like bulky power lines. That's what happened a couple years ago where we had this big catastrophic fires up north, and you're looking at some big mess. And so science has been warning for decades about the West is going to have these wildfires, but just really didn't do much except they kind of were like, oh, let's get some fire resistant building codes, buried power lines, established evacuation routes, remove fuel from routine clearing. Meanwhile, politicians and policymakers haven't been working together at all, and it's just kind of really been a mess. So over the period of decades, controlled burning and fire waste construction should dramatically reduce the impact of blazes on settlements in the West. These measures, along with natural changes like conversion of some forests to grasslands, won't do a damn thing to protect us in the near term. That might be the greatest hazard to this smoke. And like I said, it's just really bad. It says wildfire smoke has been a natural part of life on Earth for at least 400 million years. In North America, native people lived with air pollution from lightning spark fires, as well as the ones they lit on purpose. But in general, these regular small fires were less intense than the furrows we're experiencing now. In the West, wildfires aren't just burning grasses on the floor of the ponderosa pine, wiping out high elevation stands of lodgepole every 100, 250 years. They're burning forests for weeds, canopy, and covering vast acreages. They're also burning longer, persisting for as much as 7 months of the year instead of the 4 or 5 month fire season. And that's definitely true. I've been in California since the late 70s, and we just never used to. Fire season was shorter, but now it's just longer. It's now more than half the year. And I remember years ago, 60 Minutes had a show about the fires, and they're saying, 40, 50,000 was considered a big fire. Then it was 100,000 acres, and now it's 200,000 acres. Just gigantic. And then the other problem with these fires, besides just the natural vegetation, is, they're burning down man-made stuff with all kinds of crazy stuff in it that can make you sick and make you have issues. So, with the dearth of science is a common theme with wildfires. It's just why recently the advice for dealing with smoke typically amounted to don't exercise, your eyes are itchy, and stay inside, but that's not going to help us much now. So in the future, we're going to definitely have to have homes and businesses with better filtration. And, these fires are killing tourism. They showed that unhealthy smoke levels in Oregon in 2018 lost 51 million in tourism, and Montana lost 240 million in tourism the year before. So just not very good. So I'll know on a better topic. On this day 35 years ago, Mary Slaney was the last American to hold the mile world record. She did it in Zurich, and she ran a 4:16.71, while Zola Budd set the standing junior world record of 4:17.57. Wow, that record's still around, 4:17.57. And, I think the record now is like 4:12. It's interesting that it's been 35 years since the women have achieved that. In fact, in that race, first time 3 women went sub 4:20 in the same mile race. Also runner-up from Romania ran 4:17, and 2 set national records, 2 still standing. Slaney and Budd. Slaney's 3rd sub 4:20 of the year, another record. Speaking of some more current track, this weekend was Stockholm. The week before was Monaco, and Donovan Brazier won another 800. He came from behind and took it in the last 100 yards. He ran 1:43.76, and he even ran a 1:43 way back when he was 19 in 2016. But he's become very much more consistent. There was a really good women's 1500 where Laura Muir from England took the record for the year, world leading 3:57.86, and some of other people. So. And then, of course, there's a men's 1500, and it looked like the Monaco race altogether. Of course, here in America, you couldn't see it because, for some god-awful reason, you pay money to have this NBC Sports package, and they just shut off the coverage before the men's 1500, which was like the last event of the day. And it was basically a rematch of Monaco where Cheruiyot beat Jakob Ingebrigtsen, and it was pretty close. So they ran 3:30.25, so unfortunately we didn't get to see it. And then some other news that in the race, not necessarily distance news, but Carson Wilhelm from Norway, he just missed breaking the world record because he clobbered the last hurdle and went 46.87. And then amazingly, 90 minutes later, he ran a 400 flat in 45.05. Amazingly fast times. And to finish up this, one last race here in America, Edward Cheruiyot, who's Kenyan but trying to get American citizenship. He hasn't run a race in 6 months, but he ran 13:21.78 in a race here called the Brit Sam Aiken. Oh no, he ran away from Brit Sam Aiken, so I'm not sure where the race was. Oh, the Sunset Tour 5000, where a bunch of other athletes, Hoke athletes and whatnot, were running. Be interesting to see. Edward is on Under Armour team, and Bakersfield's own Blake Caney has been running for Under Armour and training in Flagstaff. So I'm going to have to dig a little deeper and see if Blake actually raced there. So, as always, stay healthy, be boring, not epic.